All right, what's going on? It's not showing my screen for some reason. Oh, I get it. So all right, I think I've got this fixed. We are live. This is a Sam Crescent art stream featuring me, Sam Crescent, broadcasting live from the Sam Crescent Art Studio. I'm a full-time artist and illustrator. Today, I am working on my comic book Strength Monsters, an action-packed adventure story about two monsters that also happen to be pro wrestlers that have to save a city from a horde of zombie monkeys. Let's just get started. So, had a little bit of trouble getting things started today. I'm currently streaming on Twitch, Kick, YouTube, and I've just added Facebook Live to the multi-stream. And adding Facebook gave me a little bit of trouble at first. It seems that everything's working now. So let's get this party started. Basically, all I do is live stream my process. And I'm going to start right now by warming up. And I do the same thing every day. I do this every day for years, but I've only been live streaming for about 17 days straight now. And I don't plan on stopping. I decided to start doing these live streams in order to document my process, to prove that I am and have a record, a documented record that I am the artist that's creating all of this work that you'll see in my Strength Monsters universe and across my entire art brand. Additionally, it will serve as a journal and record that my family and posterity can look back on and watch or refer to all these hours of work that were put in order to build out this project. You will see me build out this entire project from where I am now all the way to completion. Strength Monsters is, as I explained, an action adventure story. The Pro Wrestling League is called Strength Monsters. All the characters in the league are actual, literal monsters. Now, in the Strength Monsters story, each book has its own story. This one, though, is a pretty big story arc that I'm working on. It's the big battle story, and you'll see more of it as I go. I've completed almost a fully animated cartoon that in conjunction with this comic book, and this cartoon is 99% done. It's not full animation as in full Disney production, but it is pretty fleshed out. I'll tell you that. It's if you compare it to an anime, it's pretty well fleshed out. Right now, I'm just warming up, basically just drawing some circles and stuff. drill some lines. I'm going to do some vertical lines because I did my horizontals, but I didn't do my verticals. These are just warm-up drills. That's it. That's all I'm doing right here. So basically what you're going to see with this book, the Strength Monsters book, is I've actually completed already over 100 pages. So there's 100 pages already in the bank that have been illustrated and drawn by me or by a couple of artists that I've been working with to help me with it. But the majority of the work is illustrated by me, and you, as you follow my live streams, I'll have all the receipts and all the proof, and you can see that I am in fact drawing all this stuff and making it. Now, of the 50, I mean the 100 plus pages that are in the bank, 50 of them are already fully colored. Of those 50 that are colored, I've done my final color revisions, adjustments, and completion on 25 of the 50 pages. So there's still 25 more pages that need to be color adjusted, and there's another 50 pages that have to be colored. However, the comic book is going to be released 25 pages at a time, and the first 25 page story arc of this last 100 pages that I've completed is pretty much ready to drop really soon. The main thing that's holding it up now is the infrastructure. I have to build out all the infrastructure upon which I'm going to deploy those pages. What do I mean by that? What is Sam talking about? Infrastructure. So allow me to explain this. I'm getting things set up here. My first and I apologize, I have not configured the chat yet. So if somebody's talking to me, I won't see it. I will every now and then try to check it out and see if I can see everybody in the chat. And what you're watching right now, again, is still just warm-up exercises, warm-up drills that I've been doing every single day, and it's been helping me immensely with the rest of my process. It takes a little bit of time to warm up, but on the back end, I feel like it actually speeds me up because it gets my drawing brain going. It's also hard to talk and draw at the same time, but I've been getting better at it as I've been doing this every single day. And so what I'm doing right now is just drawing this box, and I'm trying to just rotate it around in three-dimensional space and keeping in perspective, and just doing this from recall from what I know about the shape of a box and about the perspective of this situation. Getting back to this build out, and I was talking about infrastructure. So you have a comic book, you have to have some way to deploy it into a market to sell it. And I already have several channels open that I've created that allow me to sell my work. And a lot of that is in-person, real-world, going to markets. So I'm talking about art shows, conventions, even things like flea markets and swap meets I've done. I also have a location in Ocean Beach, California, San Diego, in Ocean Beach off Newport. There's a shop down there called Connect San Diego. They carry my artwork down there. You can go there. I have a whole grid wall. They have a whole grid wall and rack of t-shirts of all work that I've created and some of my comic books. So that's another location. That's more infrastructure that I put in place. Additionally, there's several other vendors and friends and brick and mortars that carry my work. And I won't mention them right now because a lot of them probably need to restock. And so if you went there, they may or may not have the stuff. One guy that always has my stuff pretty much, at least my big 12-inch bumper stickers that I illustrate, is Monster Matt from Monster Island. It's a pop-up shop that you can find them all over Southern California. He is usually well stocked with like my most popular stickers. Now, this isn't that great because you notice the cube got bigger and bigger as I drew it. So I'm going to do it again and try and keep the size more consistent. And part of that is just the consequence too of trying to talk while I draw. So I'm going to concentrate a little more this time and try and do a little better job of keeping this thing even. Now, if you're joining me on Facebook for the first time, welcome. You've probably never haven't seen this. You've seen a few of the clips that I've done. This is not the most exciting thing in the world to watch, but it might get better as I go. Who knows? I don't really care if it's that entertaining, because the point of this, again, is for documentation and proof of my process. So I'm going to go back to talking about infrastructure some more. And this is something that a lot of artists don't seem to really understand, is if you want to be able to sell your artwork effectively, you've got to build out infrastructure like I have, upon which you can sell it. So for example, I'll give you an example of infrastructure working. I rotated this one way more than I did before, but that's okay. Let's rotate this one a lot more. So here's an example. You can buy my work at Connect San Diego in Newport, off Newport Avenue in Ocean Beach. Okay. And earlier this year, I was at an event in Las Vegas called Days of the Dead. And that is like a horror themed convention. And I have lots of monster stuff. So I do a lot of the horror themed shows because I do well there, because people there like monsters like me. My comic book's called Strength Monsters, and you'll see once I start drawing the characters how it's a lot of monsters and stuff. And so the horror themed shows, like, they fit well with a lot of my work. Now, the thing about it is, this is basically the same box. So I just drew the same box twice. So I'm going to undo all this. And what I don't want to do is make this face way bigger, making sure the proportion is the same as this box. And it's not. It's a little wider. And then we're going to go a little smaller here. And this face actually needs to be a little bit more too, or I've kind of changed the proportion again of my box, which I didn't want to do. Okay, so I was giving an example of infrastructure and how infrastructure works. So I'm at this show in Las Vegas called Days of the Dead, and I'm selling my work, and there's a woman that came up to my booth, and she recognized all of my work that I had, like all my big stickers, and she's pretty excited about it. She's like, "Oh, I have this. She's like, "I have all these," and I'm like, "That's amazing. Where did you get them from?" And she's like, "Oh, I bought them at some shop when I was in San Diego like a few months ago." I was like, "Well, what you bought were my stickers. You just bought all my stickers. I'm the artist that made all those stickers you bought. You just met the person that made them all." And she was like, she's really excited about it. And she went and bought a whole bunch more. And then she went and got her friends and brought them over to my booth. And then they bought more stuff. And so that's an example of how infrastructure that I've put in place helps me sell my work. That, like, here's a person that I'm all the way in Las Vegas. I'm in a completely different state now. Okay. Yet there was someone that found my work, came across it. This is all wrong, because I basically drew the same face twice. So we've got to redo this. Again, this is what I'm learning is the consequences of trying to tell stories, talk, and draw all simultaneously. But like I said, I'm getting better at it. And the more I practice, which is basically every single day, better I get. Now, the problem with this box is I changed the angle. So you see, we're looking down. Then this one, we've almost tilted it up a little. It's not at the same angle. And then we've tilted it up even more. And really what we'd want is this exact box with the exact angle rotated further this way. And having a hard time with it today. There we go. So now if we go from this one to this one, you know, this side is going to get shorter because it's rotated. Okay, I'm going to do another part of this drill here. I'm going to bisect all these boxes with some lines here like this. And I want to bisect through the middle and try and keep everything symmetrical as possible. Okay, so we're just going to break up these planes into a grid. Now, that story I was telling though about what happened at Days of the Dead, and then what happened with you know, somebody finding me at that convention. It sounds like a miracle, right? You're like, wow, that's amazing that happened. It's really is a small world. And yeah, but I used to think that too, and except that actual thing that I explained has happened to me more than once, like literally dozens and dozens of times, like more times than I can even remember. I'll give you another example. I was selling my work at in Ontario, I think it was Ontario Comic Fest, which I will be at in Ontario, California. Okay. If you don't know where Ontario, California is, it's part of the Inland Empire. It's just west of Riverside. And Comic Fest is at the Ontario Convention Center once a year. And I was selling there. I do Comic Fest. I've been doing it every year for many years. And it's a great show for me. I thoroughly enjoy it. It's one of my favorite ones to do. And sales are always really good. And everyone there is amazing. That's a show where the people there have supported me like for years and bought all my stuff and everything like that. So to get to the point of it, I'm selling at this mall that's called the like, this is like months later after Comic Fest. Like, it's like July and I did Comic Fest in May, and I go out to July and I'm selling at the mall called oh, I don't remember the name of it, but it's the big mall in Ontario. There's a giant mall there, and it's not that far from the convention center. I mean, Ontario's not that big. And I'm selling at this mall, and this guy comes up and he's like, he recognizes a bunch of the stickers I have, and he's like, oh dude, I've got this one. And I'm like, you've got this one? He goes, yeah, and I got this and I got this. And he starts pointing to all the stickers that he has. I go, where'd you get them? Oh, my friend gave them to me, is what he tells me. Your friend, where'd your friend give them? He's like, oh, he went to like a comic book convention. He was over at the convention center like a few months ago and bought them and gave me a bunch. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, your friend. What just happened? Oh. I'm like, okay. Yeah, your friend, I was like, your friend got them from me. Is what happened. And he was like super stoked. And I explained about, yeah, these are all stuff that I drew, you know, and everything. These are all stickers that I made. And that guy ended up buying a whole grip of stickers and a bunch of other stuff. So that, again, that's the example of the infrastructure doing its job, of infrastructure that I put in place working, of like the mileage of going to all these markets, to setting up my art in all these different stores and shops, and getting me exposure to the people that will buy this stuff. So with the comic book like Strength Monsters that I'm making, it's a similar kind of thing. Like, how do you get I'm trying to build for this is more infrastructure online. And so that's a whole nother thing that I haven't worked a lot on yet, and I'm starting to work on it a lot now. So the online infrastructure is think about the things I just told you that I've set up in real life to bring exposure and find people that want to buy my work, the same types of things needs to be built out on the internet. And so that's what I'm working on. And it's important that I have all that infrastructure, like I get that infrastructure in place kind of before I just start trying to sell everything. So one of the first things is, okay, I'm going to start live streaming my process. That's some infrastructure in place where people can come across the project and come across like what I'm working on, what I'm doing, and all that stuff. Okay. The next one is building a content machine, and that's kind of what I've been working on lately. And I have a lot of content that I've not put out because I'm building up a library that can be reused and redeployed over and over again. Because if you can't reuse and redeploy your library of content, then it's not really going to be sustainable, because you're going to be constantly in this hamster wheel of having to create new content. And how I've solved this, that's a whole nother story. Like you'll see when I start deploying all my content, like what I did, the systems that I put in place so that I could do it. And when I've got a library of content, I'm talking about thousands of videos, thousands of pieces of content that will be able to be deployed onto the internet and such. But just having all that for reach, you have things for reach. You also have to have the infrastructure to sell it. And that's having your websites in place. I'm building out my own streaming platform, and I'm building out my own crowdfunding platforms. And you'll see me build all of that out on these live streams. I plan on doing all of it here, and you'll see it happen. Right now, it's a matter of finishing this story arc, this 100+ page story arc, because once that's done, once this story arc's done, I'll have between 4 to 5 books that will be available and ready to be deployed. So that's one part of it. Finishing my cartoon. And then I've already started building the streaming platform, but you'll be able to see where it was, but you'll be able to see me finish it. And then you'll see the build out, because I'll do it all live. You'll see the build out of the crowdfunding platform as well. And that at that point, I'll have the infrastructure in place to actually effectively be able to deploy my comic book. And a lot of people don't understand how important this is to have up when you're trying to deploy something like a comic book, because you have to realize that a comic book is an original comic book that nobody's heard of, that you created. It's one of the most difficult things to sell, okay? Because you're trying to sell something that basically nobody asked for, nobody knows anything about, nobody necessarily cares about, and you somehow have to get your story out there, find the people that are interested in this type of thing, and so forth. And there's countless stories of top tier artists like in the industry already that make their own, create their own comic, and then they're absolutely disappointed when they find out like it's not earning them the revenue they thought it would, and a lot of that is, well, there's a lot of reasons why. One of the problems is they don't have any infrastructure in place. So the only infrastructure they have is their name, the power of their name or whatever their celebrity is, as a comic book illustrator, professional comic book illustrator working on, major titles. And sometimes that's enough to get something through, but realize that changes constantly. Like whoever is hot one month or 1 year, there's going to be some other artist that's going to pop up that's going to be the guy the next year. So there's no there's no real promise. You know, that's a start, but that's not going to be enough a lot of the time. The other thing is they don't understand is the cost of the deployment of their book, like meaning the print cost is not fully understood. So they're pulling in, and really it's the shipping cost that people don't seem to get. So they pull in a lot of sales, and they'll see a big number on their campaign, and they'll think, and then they'll be so heartbroken when they find out how much of that money is going to get ripped away from them. When they find out, oh, the platform's going to take 5 to 10%. Then they find out that the card processor is going to take another 3%. If there's a processing fee, they're going to lose more of it. Then you've got your print costs. Then you've got your shipping costs, and the shipping costs are massive right now. And they're not going to go away. That's going to be a problem for a long time. So you've got the shipping cost, and then you realize the artist will realize after all of that stuff. And I'm still warming up, guys. These are just like exercises here that I've been doing, constructing things. This is actually the construction of that's a terrible nose. A very basic construction of a head, mannequinized. This is a mannequinized figure that I've been kind of building and then rotating around. That head's probably a little too small, but you know, who cares? Not trying to make a finished piece of art right now anyway. So I'm talking about that's another problem. And so you realize that like what the amount of revenue you actually needed and what you actually needed to charge per your book is exponentially greater than what you thought. And that's where it becomes, the comic becomes even more difficult, because we're talking about a medium that historically is cheap, is printed on newsprint and sold in convenience stores and 7-Elevens and gas stations for a couple dollars. There's a time when it was like 25 cents, 35 cents. When I was young, they were 75 cents, then $1, then $1.25, and the price kept having to increase because of inflation and of cost increases. So the day of a comic book being something that's just a few dollars that you can buy in a convenience store or something, those are long since over. And the public, the general public doesn't know much about it, they're not aware of that. So sometimes there's even, if an artist does charge what they're supposed to, what they need to, there can sometimes be like some sticker shock when someone's like, oh, I can't believe how much money this is. Anyway, my plan is to stack value on top of the book, and hope that kind of helps with the sales. But getting back to the point, that's one of the reasons why I'm gonna build my own platform to crowdfund from first, because that way the people that are my people that I've found through my own efforts that want to support me, then that means the most amount of their dollars are going to go to supporting the actual project, the actual book. Let's see here what's going on. Looks like nothing really. I don't know where the chat is even on what is this? Facebook is at all. But that's okay. I'll add more. I'll configure my chat eventually. Like I'm just doing one thing at a time, pretty much, to build out. So what I want to do is go here. Actually, let's fix this. Let's go here. Here. So this here, we want to be about the same down here. But I kind of shortened it a little bit only because it's going this is going further away from us. I'm doing this right now because I feel like my eye is not quite trained well enough to really accurately nail these proportions. I mean, this is basically just a mannequinized. This is just a mannequinized figure. But what this exercise does is it helps train me so that I can just draw a figure from my memory, from my imagination, without having to pull reference. I'm not against using reference. I use it all the time. But when it comes to making comic books, it's just faster and more efficient if you can just do it. Because drawing a comic book is literally the most labor intensive. It's the most labor intensive of all the different like art forms that you can do as far as popular culture, popular media. What would you call that? Now I'm just kind of like I'm wedging together some of the major shapes of the admin. This is terrible. I need to work on that more. What happened? All right, let me see here. What's going on? Whoa. All right. A little bit too long. that one more left, and then we'll go to I'm gonna do some Bridgman studies, and then I'll start working. This is actually not right. It needs to be down there. This is like more of the oval that I've been doing, that shape, that shape. If you see my live stream from yesterday, it makes more sense the shapes that I'm choosing to put on this character. Didn't mean to make that go out that far. There we go. All right. Enough of that exercise. Moving around a mannequin in perspective. I'm going to do some Bridgman. And then start drawing this comic book. Let's see here. Where did it go? Did I shut it down? No, it's right here. All right, so this is a torso study from one of George Bridgman's anatomy books. We've got this. Actually, let me do a different color. So we've got this kind of the ball of the abdomen here, shaped here. If I just work with my mannequin right away, I pretty much can get everything in here. So that's basically it. Let's switch this down to a dark color now. Thicken this up, and let's start looking at how Bridgman's designing this anatomy. He's got sort of wedged angle here that comes up out like that, and it goes here. And this is actually wedging into the deltoid right there. Okay. We've got the collarbone here. He indicates it. Comes here. This guy's really built up that he's drawing. The nipple there. And then on this side, he's got the other pectoralis muscle here. Comes up. I don't know what page this is of Bridgman's book. 157 of his like anatomy book. But he's probably my favorite to study right now for figurative drawing and stuff, because he wedges the muscles together like better than everybody else, in my opinion. And that's what I like looking at the most, when it's like how he's designing the pecs, how he's designing the biceps. So now he's got the rib cage here, and he's got a big kind of rib cage on here, and this is like, in his drawing, it's like a shape like that. And then he's got the rib cage on the other side here, like that. He draws the abs in here, and then the navel's down here, and he's got kind of a skin fold there with more abs. Now let me fix this because it's kind of bad. I mean, where he puts these bottom abs are pretty low. That's fine. And it comes down to the groin here. I'm going to put this line in because it's like, it's looking like it's not symmetrical to me. And I'm going to fix that a little bit. There. Okay, so now here he's got his serratus anterior muscles here plugging in. And this is like a shape that he's done like this. Okay. And then on this side, we also have the serratus anteriors here, and he kind of has them wedge in to this rib cage. Now he's got this angle shape there, angle up here, and this is all, he puts this all in shadow because it's underneath all this form and structure. Now this one, he does an interesting thing. So he's got the lats now put in, and let me redo that. He has this, the lats come out and up like that. And he cuts it off at the, well, he doesn't cut off at the arms. He's got this guy's bicep then, which is actually very nicely done. So he's got the coracobrachialis muscle right there. You just see a little bit of biceps, and he gets the tendon there. And then this one, he draws it up. No, I did that wrong. It's angular here, flat, angles down, and then he's got the tendon there. You know, you see how I just like went right away to a curve when he's got it kind of boxed out. And then he did a nice little rendering right here. And he did a little bit of rendering here, kind of just to describe what's happening in there with this form. And he did a little bit of rendering here, and I'll add more rendering later. Now we have the tricep muscle coming out like this. Out. And then he puts in the elbow, which is basically the bone right there. Muscles coming off of it. You've got the forearm right there. And that's it for that. Okay, so we've got, we can start the tricep over there as well. So that's pretty much the drawing of it. Let's see, what else can we learn from this? We've got the obliques here. We've got the obliques coming down here. Now, why don't I go ahead and render this a little bit here? So this is all shadow in here. Coming through like that. And he does a rendering through this whole underside of the bicep. Now I know there's a few people that are big into teaching Bridgman, and what they do is they'll take these Bridgman sketches and turn them into like really nice, polished, like finished out charcoal drawings, charcoal illustrations. And I've done those too. They're interesting to do, but I kind of feel like the point is missed with that discipline, because the real learning from Bridgman is not to, I mean, that is an exercise. It's, I think, good for your designing a light source and, you know, taking other knowledge, you know, and implementing it or whatever. But the real, I feel like the real genius of Bridgman is just like the way he does his shapes. So, for example, this here, like he really makes this like rib cage, like, I mean, it's like a volumetric kind of a shape like this, and then it's wrapped around the abs, which is kind of like this oval. You know, if we're gonna break it down into simple shapes, you know. So when I'm doing my mannequin, let's say I want to do this. So I'm going to draw the figure looking down, and we'll see if we can do the same pose. So we've got the collarbone here. We've got the neck would be here, coming up like that. The trapezius muscle coming from the back. Now, if we design the pecs the way Bridgman did, he kind of angles it, brings it through, has that come out. This comes out. Now we're looking down on this shoulder, so it's going to be more here. And we're looking at the top of the bicep, kind of the top and the side of it. Boy, this is tough. Coracobrachialis. Bicep. Triceps under here. We don't really see it. There's the lat. And then this shape here, the outside's there and the inside's in here. That's bad. I gotta move this over a little bit. Here we go. Now this is getting hard because we're not really gonna see as much there. Now this isn't how this is gonna go. It's actually gonna go like this. So I just fixed that muscle there because it's got to wrap over that way. Let's see here. Coracobrachialis is right there. Let me just fix this here. And then zoom in on this a little bit. Let's clean this up. This is way messy. There. And then the tricep is coming here. The forearm's coming up to us this way. The oblique muscles here. And the hips come out here. So that's kind of what I've been doing more, is taking the Bridgman, drawing it the Bridgman way, rotating it around and trying to figure out how these shapes look and what they would do and how would they wedge into each other when you rotate it. I'm not that good at it, but that's why I'm practicing. All right, time to work on the comic book. We've made it to the comic book portion of the program. So let's see here. What's going on? I don't know if everything's still working or not. Looks like it. And not sure if we plugged into Kick today. Looks like he did. All right, let's take off the jacket. So we're drawing all these baby animals now. Yesterday, Yesterday I did this alligator, and you know, I didn't really put any shadows on him or anything because I'm gonna do all that with my color. But it's not gonna hurt me to just do a little bit of stuff here, just to give this guy a little bit more, maybe a little more weight. So that's what I'll do. And now that I've got So Facebook is the social media that I like don't really use anymore. But now that I'm doing Facebook Live and I've got the login back on my main computer, um, maybe I'll start using it again. I kind of got rid of Facebook years ago because it was just, I felt like it was just wasting time. Like the website is very confusing now. There's just stuff everywhere. Like it was funny because when it started out, it was like clean. It was cleaner than MySpace. If you know about the old days of social media. So MySpace turned into like this big mess of, you know, GIFs and bulletin boards and chats and discussion boards and, you know, what all kinds of stuff. It was kind of not very clean. And Facebook came out, it was pretty appealing because it was so much cleaner than it was a lot cleaner than. So I already have all my layouts in here because I did this back in August, and this is how long it's been from August to now that I'm finally drawing this page, and I've roughed in almost to the end of the comic book. Like I these layouts go really fast. Like it doesn't take me very long to do them. At least the way it is now, or the way my process is now, and you'll see it because I'll have to rough in some more pages to finish this, and I'll do it live. But I forgot what I was talking about. Oh, I was talking about how Facebook turned into a mess, and then I just stopped using it. And I think most of my friends like quit Facebook too. Maybe some of them are still hanging out there. That's not what I want. You want him to be looking more happy, so let's fix this to a smile. Boy, that's weird. I was trying to do a. So I like that expression for monkeys. Um, yeah, so anyway, it's like, in some ways, Facebook, I felt like it was, I would always have this feeling after being on Facebook, like I would get distracted by a bunch of stuff that doesn't matter if I pay attention to or not. I'm not talking about like friends and stuff that I should stay in touch with, and I get distracted with different things on there, and a lot of time would pass, and I had this like really like hollow, empty feeling, like what I just do, like kind of like when if you in the old days, if you just like binge television for hours straight, and you're watching TV, and you're going, oh, there's a lot of things I need to do. Why am I just sitting in front of the TV? Like, what's going on? That's the feeling that I always had that Facebook would give me all the time. And I wonder what that sounds from. It's somebody on Kick. No, it's Facebook. Somebody messaging me or something. I'll have to check it out later because I can't check my messages right now. Anyway, what was I talking about? Yeah, that's why I was talking about why I got rid of Facebook, and now I'm back to it because I've gotten a lot more disciplined lately about using social media responsibly, not just allowing myself to get pulled into a doom scroll or a lot of people get pulled into a lot of political drama and such on these platforms, and it's and it becomes a huge time suck that's really not going to be beneficial to your life, to be honest. What is that? These are pretty easy little characters to draw. That's it for that one. Now let's get his buddy in here. It's also giving him a high five. I put a diaper on him because the main baby monkey has a diaper, but this is not a diaper monkey. He's gonna be a non-diaper wearing monkey. Um, let's just pretty much leave it at that. I mean, I could hint the thumb right there if we wanted. Let's do this. No, that does not look ape-like enough. So other ear. That works. Good enough. No. That's cool. You guys are pretty small, so I'm not going to put too much detail into them. let's draw this guy, and then I'll put the line weights on these guys, and I'll do a little bit of rendering and stuff. Let's see, it's 11:55 a.m. Monday, May 4th. There's a lot to do today. I don't know if how much longer I'll be able to go. I've been spending a little bit too much time on the warm-ups, but like I said, you kind of, it's one of those things where kind of makes up for it on the back end, because one, if you don't do them, if you don't do anything, your skills they're not really going to grow. You'll just kind of do the same thing, especially when you're doing drawings like this, where this is all stuff I've made up out of my imagination. You're just going to do like whatever's still in your head. And so if you're not actively trying to put new information into your head, into your brain, you're just not going to get better. So I feel like it is actually, even though it slows the process down, like I could have had another maybe 30 minutes of comic book work done. Well, one, I'm drawing a bit faster because my drawing brain is been, trained a bit before I started. So that helps. The other thing about it is I want to always have improvement. I want to have growth in my art. I want to be, in 20 years, I want to be better than where I am. And it doesn't take a lot to do that. It just takes consistency, and like what I did. Like, okay, it was like 38 minutes or 40 minutes. Maybe I did 40 minutes of training today, of exercises, drawing exercises and stuff like that. Fine. The other thing is, it just helps my own, I guess it satiates my own insecurities too, because I'm always like thinking, oh, I'm not really that good. I've got to get better. If I don't constantly work my drawing, it's gonna go downhill, because it is a perishable skill. Your drawing, if you don't work your drawing, it does get rusty, and you will struggle with it. I'm gonna draw this foot, and then I'm gonna shrink this guy's body down, because his body's just a little bit too big. Literally, the foot for him is just gonna be a shape like this. Let's make this guy's body a little bit smaller. That kind of adds to the cuteness of the character. And then, because babies have like giant heads, so you're trying to make a cute little monkey character, just make his head too big. All right, now let's do the silhouette value on these things. That might be too much. Let's start with a 5. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go around the silhouette values when I go around the outline of the drawing and just thicken my lines up. Yeah, there's a lot that I have to do. I won't, because once I stop the stream, I clip it all. There are different clips that I can deploy on all the social media platforms. I'll pull out like 4 or 5 clips, then I'll post them or schedule them on the different platforms. That's like I just made it part of the process so that I can get more infrastructural reach online. But what I have to do after this today is I have to work on my inventory tracking system that I'm trying to implement so that I can more efficiently scale out all my t-shirts. I'm going to work on that. I have 3 businesses that I need to research. and that it's about an hour per business. So that's going to take some time. I don't know if I can get them all done today. Maybe I'll just do one a day. And then I've got, what else do I have to do here today? There were a couple other things, but I don't remember now. Oh, that's right. I have some freelance work that I have to finish. I've got 2 freelance jobs. I've got 3 freelance jobs that in the, what do you call it, the queue, and 2 of the 3 I've started. Now, the first one is pretty much like all the hard work is done, in my opinion. Like it's an illustration that's going to be used as a print, a t-shirt, and a sticker. So it's going to be used for 3 different things for a YouTuber, a big YouTuber, actually. I'm not going to say who it is. You'll figure it out. You'll know when it happens. So that work is all the tight draw. I mean, all the rough drawing, the layout, everything is done, and I've actually turned the rough drawing into a pretty tight sketch, tight enough that I'm going to then transfer it onto my artboard and start working a tight pencil art for it, really tight pencil art that can actually be used for the print. Then I'll put drafting vellum over the top and ink it, and then the ink version will be colored with like 1 or 2 colors, and that will be the sticker. And then we'll go full color on it, and that one will be the t-shirt. So 3 products from 1 illustration. And I could do it live, but I don't know if I should, because it's client work, and I don't know if I should be sharing that right now. I kind of feel like I should keep that not public because it's not my project. Same thing with the other one. The other one is I've already started as well. That's going to be for a pretty cool band. They're putting out a what's it called? An audio cassette tape, which I love audio cassette. And I'm doing the artwork for the audio cassette single that they're going to release. And same thing. I've done the rough layout for the illustration, and now I need to make it into a tight sketch. And that one it'll go fast. I think I can get the tight sketch pretty much loaded in today, and that'll help me with that one. And then the last one is a pro wrestling belt, and that's going to be the funnest one and the easiest one to do. And I pretty much say no to all freelance work. Like I don't take it. I don't want to do it. I do better doing my own work. It hurts me actually to do freelance. So don't ask me to do anything unless you want to pay me a lot of money, because it's just not worth it for me. I've explained this many times, but if I spend my time making a t-shirt or making my comic book, I've produced an asset basically that I can sell over and over again in perpetuity to help support my family and my future. Whereas if most of this freelance work that comes across, it's you get paid one time for something and that's it, you know. And I've done royalties, like, well, let's work a royalty into it. The problem is that a lot of the people that unfortunately, a lot of the people that commission the work, they don't know how to sell it. And so you might even end up with a royalty deal, but like it's not really helpful because they're not able to drive the sales, where I can drive the sales of my own art pretty effectively. And so that's kind of why I make those decisions. And yeah, the financial portion is important, because if it's not working, then I can't do art. I have to do something else to pay bills. So we've got the baby alligators, and I think I can do them pretty fast. So let's try and get them done so that all the baby animals are completed here. Because these guys are just little tiny drawings. I don't know. Somebody's calling me, but I don't know who that is. It's a phone number I don't recognize. Boy, I tell you. I don't like this eye. Let's fix it up here. That's better. There's this baby alligator hand there. So right here, I'm just pulling together the tail here. Bringing this through. Put some little details on this guy, and that baby alligator's done. Let's go ahead and just go straight to the silhouette value of this little guy so that it is out of the off the roster. And this is actually very small. Like, I mean, I'll show you on this page. It's like, it's a very small character, but still gonna get them done. What? Might need a new nib on this. I'm drawing on a Wacom. I don't know what this is called. It's not a tablet. It's a screen that you can draw on. All right, one more baby monkey or baby alligator right here. Oh wait, let's put in some. Let's put in a little bit of, some shadows on this guy, a little bit of stuff. Maybe a little bit of rendering under here. A little rendering there. That's good. All right, well, let's get this back leg too. Back arm. Okay, let's do this next one. Last one here. Last drawing for this live stream. We're gonna get this guy done. Pretty loose sketch, but that's fine. I know exactly where I want to go with it, so it doesn't really matter. It's cartooning is the funnest. It's one of the funnest ways to draw, I feel like, because it just, you can get so fluid with it, and you don't have to. You can break the rules of reality. You can get away with things that you can't get away with otherwise. Let's move his hands up here. Okay, let's fix this. This is an alligator, so there he's, even though it's a anthropomorphic kind of a alligator. I'm gonna redo all this. It's terrible. There we go. Yeah, so I think I've got the live stream set up now on, I've been just adding one platform, we'll do the opposite with this one. Been adding one platform a week because in OBS breaks, you know, it's just what it does. Oh, interesting. I'm on the G pen. I'm like, I usually draw this stuff with the felt pen. All right, let's do the outline and then I'll go back and do the. So just want to get this outline in here of the character, the basic shape of him. And I'm going to just thicken up some stuff. All right. I'm going to add some rendering to this guy. Just a little bit. Put a little bit more shadow on there. All right, that's works enough. So we've got the baby alligators in. We've got the baby monkeys in here. That's all I've got time to do today. So I'm going to end the stream now. I will be back tomorrow as I am here every day except for this weekend on Sunday. I will be at Rose Bowl Flea Market in Pasadena, California. Be selling my stuff, booth 827. Stop by if you want to, if you're around. I'll have all kinds of art and stuff there, originals, prints, stickers, all manner of things. And so I may or may not be able to stream that day. If I do, it would be a short one. Let me make sure I save my work here. And saving it right now. Once that's done, cut the stream, back all this stuff up, and I will be back tomorrow. See you then.